Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at an expansion to the Quest Kids called Big Bads of Tolk's Cave. Now, Big Bads of Tolk's, or Quest Kids itself, is a game that I played with my son, and it quickly became one of our favorite games to play. It's such a simple game where you're going through, flipping cards over, collecting resources, turning those resources into scare away monsters. We fight the monsters. And then you score points. You can help each other, and you get points for helping. It is one of the best kids games I've ever played. Well, what this expansion does is it adds more to it, but it also ups the complexity. And I'm not kidding, it ups the complexity by quite a bit. So the original game, which I have down here, so this game, it says 5+. This one also says 5+, but this is only 5+ if you have an adult who's doing a lot of work for them. This here is easy, simple, and fun to get into. This one is going to add items. It's going to add rolling dice. It's going to add a big bad guy you fight at the end of the game. There's several things that this adds, and so you got to keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm assuming if you're watching this, you already know how to play the game, and you just want to see what this expansion adds to it. So I'm going to show you what it adds, and then I'll give you my thoughts. The first thing you get here in the expansion is a 5th character who everybody will fight over, coming with his own treasure tokens, standee, and miniature, and that is Flint the Dragon. Flint starts with 1 ability card. So that's basically the first thing the game adds. So if you're playing with the Big Bads of Tolk's expansion, you will replace the tiles from the original game with these new tiles, which is just a new set of tiles with new enemies inside. Some of these enemies are going to cause you to draw a card, and there is a separate deck now of the Gems of Power. They're not by themselves. You'll just pull one of these, and then it will tell you what you can use this gem for later on in the game. So this one lets you use it as a purple card, basically, and it's worth 2 points. So whenever you get one of these cards, if I defeat Grayson the Green, for example, I will get a gem card. And you can see there's all kinds of silliness. All these cards have a little icon in the top corner so that you can separate them out. Here's Cole the Owl, Heckle, Hoopla, and Hound. There's also a couple cards in the game, Tolk's Desk and Weapon Rack, that when you get them, you'll replace them with this tile, and you'll pick one of them to start the game in, and you can just go there. On your turn, visit the Weapon Rack instead of exploring a tile, and you can trade in a treasure for an item on this one, or here you can exchange up to 2 cards for other cards. Nah, this is okay. I don't find it to change the game that much. One of the things that will change the game, though, are these cards. When you find one of these, everyone's going to draw and resolve a green event card or a red event card. Now, to understand these cards, first we have to understand dice. At the beginning of the game, players are going to get 2 dice that match their color. So if I'm playing with Flint from this game, I'm getting these 2 orange dice. If I'm playing with one of the other characters, I'll get the dice matching them. On these dice are different symbols, and it will show you on the card what symbols are on these. So we have attack, outsmart, help, teamwork, sneak, and wild. So this green die you can see has a single sneak on 2 sides, a double sneak on 1 side, and outsmart, teamwork, and wild. But it does not have help, and it does not have attack. But because there's a wild, technically you can get any symbol that you need. So when it's your turn to draw an event, so let's say you draw this event, and there's some text there about the event, and then you pick one of these things. Skylar's going to throw her axe to smash the crystal, or Noah throws Crash to remove the crystal. This one needs an attack, and this one needs this. Now, if I have the attack, I may not be able to do very well with this. If I succeed, I get an item. If I fail this, I'll discard one of these cards to the big bad tile, which we'll talk about in a bit. The red events are just harder events. They're going to need more icons. So when you're playing these, you will have your dice that you roll. You're always going to roll these. So if I'm rolling orange dice, I might go, you know what? I need the purple one here. I'll ask the purple player to use their dice. And so whenever you use a die from somebody else, they're going to get a kind kid card. And the most dice you can roll your turn is 3. And if some people aren't in the game, you can still use dice just by paying cards to do those. So I roll these, and here I rolled, well, that was an amazing roll, 2 wilds. So I got this, and I get an item. And that's what it is. Each kid is going to draw their own event card when one of these comes up and deal with it by rolling the dice. Now, I've mentioned item cards, and other things are going to give you item cards. There are different item cards that are in this game. So here is a help horn. This is a weapon. We also have armor, like this Helm of Wisdom. And then there are also potions, like this health potion here. You're going to find event cards sometimes on some of the tiles. It will tell you to take these, and you can use each armor and weapon once per turn. A potion is a one-time thing, and you can only have one of each item type at a time. So like this help horn lets me have a free orange icon during an action die roll, and this says anytime I gain one of these, I gain another one, and this, I don't lose a heart if I can't scare away a bad guy card. So that's kind of the way it is. Some of the cards give you extra dice. Some cards, this croaking frog, I can use my frog to scare away a 3-star bad card, but it's a one-time use. Maybe I would want this power hammer. I need one less purple card to scare away a bad guy. This gloves of kindness, take an extra kind kid card anytime you gain one of those. So these item cards are now available in the game. Now the next here is a whole hodgepodge of components that are included with the game, because when the game's over, you'll now fight a big bad guy. And who you fight depends on which one you pick. You'll pick one of these bad guys. And so here, this one is going to make you find robots. There's a pile of shades that you're going to fight through. The Howl Rock, a wolf that you're going to go after. And each one of these in the book has a full-on description of how that one works. So if you want to fight Jinx, it will tell you what components you need. You're going to be putting puzzle pieces together to fight him. The Mega Slimer makes you find a robot where you're going to find a specific combination on the card, and if you get that one correct, then you'll be able to get extra points at the end of the game. And so each of these comes with rules, and I'm not going to go through them, but you're trying to score and defeat these big bad guys to get extra points at the end of the game. Okay, so for me, this expansion came out so nicely because my son was younger when we played this original game. And by the time we get this expansion, and by the way, you can see us playing this expansion a couple years ago here live in the studio with my son. You can see me playing that. But he understands that when we played the final product here, he understood it a whole lot more. This complexity that it adds, where you're trying to pick the dice and work with probabilities, where you collect items and learn to use them. And when you fight the big bad guy, it adds to the game. But I would not recommend this expansion if you are just first getting the game and you're young kids. So if you have lower elementary, honestly, you might want this expansion because of the dragon and the big bad guy, but you're going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting. You're going to say, okay, you roll this dice, you do this, that item does this, don't forget you have that item. And maybe that's what you want, but I would rather the kid be able to do that. So I think this is a mid-elementary type expansion. It's kind of like the 4th Harry Potter movie in a sense. This is more than the base game. Now, that's a good thing if you're progressing through this game. It takes a very simple game. It more than doubles the complexity of it, but it still keeps that basic game where you have kind cards. Now, me and my son, we like it better playing this way because now there's interesting things. The events come up, and yes, they're fairly random, but knowing which dice to take, the item cards are fun because it's neat to have a sword or a hat or an axe or whatever it might be. And then there are 5 different big bad guys you can fight, each with a very different feel. And you're probably going to need an adult to go in there and read through the different rules. I wish they had included in this game. One of my disadvantages of this, disappointments in this game is I feel like there should have been a big bad guy card for each one that listed everything that bad guy does with their components they needed. I thought that would have been a nice touch. But other than that, if you like the original game, the Quest Kids, and you're looking for more, your kid has gotten older as you play through this, and you just, or maybe they played originally and thought it's a little too simple for them. This adds that level of complexity, but maintains a lot of the fun and charm that's still in the base game. So I give this an 8.5. I think it's a good expansion, with the caveat that you realize what I said there, that there's a lot more going on. But with 5 different bad guys, it's going to feel different each time. a whole set of different tiles to go through, items, event cards. So yeah, check it out. And of course, have fun trying to figure out who's going to be the dragon. So there you go. I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.